Just counting all the ways I died. Everything I couldn't save, buried down, still half alive. It's got me crawling in my skin, but no one's coming out to hold me close. Pouring out the gasoline, yeah, I've been making friends with all these girls, and I got nothing left to lose. Fight to the future.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. It's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, best day of the week, but Friday can wait a little bit longer because we have a banger of a matchup here tonight. It's a clash of the top in the SLE. We have Blazing Pandas taking on Interstellar Aquila. It's me, Panini, or Jungle Buddha on the cast, and together with me I have Desa. How are we feeling today?
We are feeling absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited to see this matchup today, and Blazing Pandas being one of the top teams at the moment should be a banger of a game. Interstellar has shown some promise as well, and it's gonna be a beautiful clash of two different playstyles today.
Without hyping us like the Goblins up, I do think that the Pandas has had a pretty tough schedule still. They have played some pretty decent team and showed that they are able to perform and play at a pretty good level. Interstellar, on the other hand, I'm very curious about because I think they have been really sneaking up here. You don't think about them so much, but they just keep on winning. And today is gonna be, I think, a real kind of fire test for them because they're up against the Pandas, who went 1-1 with Revolinx last week, who seemed like unstoppable almost. So it's a really exciting matchup here today, and it's make or break, I think, maybe for Interstellar potentially.
Yeah, definitely. So today it's gonna tell us a lot about moving forward, how Interstellar is gonna be in the upcoming weeks, and obviously playoffs we are still far away from sort of any of this really mattering too much. But like you said it yourself, Blazing Pandas did go up against Rebel Lynx last week, went 1-1 against them, which technically does mean Interstellar going 2-0 against Slim Mods. Interstellar are gonna sort of be more of the winning team, or we're gonna be more on the momentum train going into this matchup. But obviously, some might argue that Blazing Pandas did have the harder matchup last week, so maybe they come more prepared. And obviously, that's going to tell us a lot about as well how the teams are going to perform on the Rift, and it's going to tell us a lot about how they are going to be moving forward.
Absolutely, and I'm not too sure who will be starting in the top lane here for the Pandas, just to pivot into another topic, because for me, the top lane is something I'm really interested in watching here today. I think that Interstellar, Marcus, has been performing really good and being like having some incredible performances on the Cassandra among others, and we have seen two top laners from Pandas. We've seen Sharp, I believe, and Michi D. I believe Sharp is the substitute, but I think Michi D has been that Sharp put on a real carry performance, and Michi D has been playing more of these supportive, maybe tank top laners. But I think I just got told here by production that we have Michi D, so it's the starter here. And I wonder, are we gonna see an Ornn in the top lane? What do you think?
I mean, potentially, they do tend to like to run those tanks up towards the top lane especially when it is Mickey D up there, like you said. Could potentially as well be seeing a little bit of GP today if the situation does present itself for the side of Blazing Pandas, as well as Camille and Renekton being those four champions being sort of up there when it comes to the echelon of what he can pull off, or what I expect for him to pick at least. And you can always fall back if you're not feeling too hot, fall back to those Malphite, fall back to those Ornns and the sort of Casantes of the world. And obviously, top lane being so matchup dependent as a lane as well just means that if you're not feeling too hot, you can fall back to those tanks. But if you feel like you're in the groove, if you feel like you're having a really good week, if you feel like you really got your combos together, you can pull out some of these more fighter champions. And especially the GP is something that we saw Bannerex absolutely wreak havoc on the Rift last time around. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up opting for on the side of Blazing Pandas this time around.
And here we are, we're heading into draft. We see the Tristana ban coming out of Interstellar, a champion I believe that Rain D enjoys playing. It's countered by a fresh ban here on the side of Blazing Pandas. Ooh, more bans coming down. I believe Three Quarters likes to play these hyper carries, so I think a Braum ban makes perfect sense here.
Yeah, definitely. So, and so far we are seeing a lot of these bans going down towards that bot lane. Tristana obviously is something that has been coming up as a flex in a couple of recent patches, has been able to go into that mid lane. Generally, you pick the Tristana to bully out the sort of mages in that mid lane, sort of the Cassiopeias of the lane. The Azir is really good into these control mages that want to just sit there and scale. Tristana has great push as well with her satchel charges, and that passive on it means that you can more often than not get priority in that mid lane, which tends to matter a lot in a 5v5 setting. But we do see an immediate Jarvan lock-in from the side of Interstellar.
And a good response here with the Poppy being hovered. Poppy, of course, an excellent counter, especially now following the Jarvan nerfs. It's a good pick. You can, of course, get creative with the Poppy Jarvan. We saw this on Tuesday with Gucci Yang picking up both Poppy and Jarvan running the Poppy support. But I would expect it to go into the jungle here on the side of Pandas. As you say, a lot of attention towards the bot lane here, and the Ornn also being picked up. Of course, a solid top lane pick, kind of regardless whenever you pick it. And we see that Poppy getting locked in here. We'll see what the Pandas fans are next. Most likely looking for a support or an AD carry. Yeah, picking up the Ezreal before all the good AD carries are gone.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of AD carries left, to be honest. Kai'Sa, Tristana, Ashe all hit the ban table from both of these teams in that first rotation. So there's only things like the Ezreal, there are things like the Xayah that are still available. Generally, Xayah gets countered by the Jarvan as well. Not being able to exit out of that Cataclysm is quite a big deal, but it's going to be the Varus instead this time around for the side of Interstellar.
I absolutely love Varus. I think it's a strong champion. We haven't seen too much of here in the league yet. It's of course quite risky, but I think when you see the Poppy coming out, while Poppy can gank quite a lot, she also doesn't have maybe always the best gank setup. It really depends on who you're playing into, because she often denies the escape tools or the mobility of champions she ganks, but that's not the case for Varus. And a Vladimir picking safe and scaling here in the mid lane, going for a real late game fight comp.
Late game powerhouse, so to speak. Vladimir being the late game scaler on the side of Interstellar. It'll be interesting to see what the response is going to be on the side of Blazing Panda. Should be a mid laner or potentially a support, but you can also go with a flex of those two. It is going to be the Swain locked in. Last time around we did see the Swain head down towards that bot lane, and I would assume the same thing here as well, but you can still put it mid if you want. But I would assume something a little bit potentially more aggressive in that mid lane, but things like the Azir are still open if you want to opt into things like the Cassiopeia, things like the Xerath as well, which we have sort of been seeing more so on SLE.
Absolutely, and we also know that Rain D plays a lot of Swain. It's his most played champion in the mid lane, so it is very much a flex here. I'm not too sure about the Vladimir Swain matchup. I can imagine it's kind of a sleepy farm play, not too much happening there. It's also there's not so much gank set up for the Popper, so they might want to throw it down in the bot lane. It's great, you can catch out Varus, you can have some pressure if you get him close. You're pretty tanky, so you can also soak quite a lot of damage. And together with the Ezreal, you have good poke. I think some tools are getting out. We see a lot of, some more bans coming out here. The GP, the Camille, the carry top laners are now gone. And we'll see how Pandas respond here. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're gonna pick up, maybe they pick up a support here, yeah. Looks like the Karmas might come in here. A good pick, mobility, shields, but I must say I'm not too sure what the Pandas wants to do here with their comp so far. I think there's more of an idea on Interstellar, so they might have something special to tie the stack together, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. So Karma, to me as a picker, I'm pretty sure it's more so picked to go with the Ezreal. It doesn't make an entirely a lot amount of sense with the Poppy and the Swain, but a very, very good sort of duo down in that bot lane. You can, especially with an immobile champion like Varus, if you lock up the Varus, the Ezreal combo is a lot easier to hit. It is going to be the Nautilus coming through. That has been a staple for a couple of patches now. A very good champion down towards that bot lane. One of the, if not the best of these sort of engaged champions. Another one that comes to mind is Rel, which does get taken away by Blazing Pandas in that second rotation of bans. So it's going to be the Nautilus this time around. And with the time ticking down, looks like they're going to opt into an Olaf in that top lane.
I really love Interstellar's draft so far. I think you have good catching tools with Nautilus Jarvan. You have a good just damage from Vladimir Varys if these things goes late, and you have an Olaf who's gonna be able to run down Pandas if they if he gets ahead, and that's something Jarvan can do. We see a response with the Malphite. I also quite like the Malphite here. It can be a bit rough in the top lane, I imagine, but you can definitely use the ult to with a lot of success against the Varus here. And for Pandas, I think you just want to try and with all this mobility, run and get onto Interstellar's backline and punish them, maybe remove the Varus as soon as possible. But it's gonna be tricky with this Olaf.
Yeah, definitely so. And like you already mentioned earlier, this Vladimir, yes, while being a scaler, being that late game champion in that mid lane, if he can get a couple of kills for himself, if he can get ahead in the early game, he could become an absolute menace to deal with. The backline is gonna be the answer for this other Blazing Pandas as well. This Varus has to die, or he's gonna melt this Swain. He's gonna melt through this Malphite extremely quickly. Varus not having an entire lot of mobility for himself as well, outside of the flash, which I assume he should or would take. Outside of that, if you can burn the flash early or burn it in a potential earlier fight before a big objective spawns, that Malphite ultimate is gonna be a hell of a lot easier to hit. But who do you think, or whose comp do you prefer in this draft of game number 1?
Just comp-wise, I would favor Interstellar here. I think their comp is easier to execute, and you have a good insurance if this goes late. Of course, you do have the Ezreal on the opposite side, and so. But I think there's a lot of bodies to screen for the Varus here, and also Vladimir and Olaf are pretty good champs, and they're both able to just run in here quite safely. Because something I think Pandas are lacking here is just raw damage. There's not too much damage coming out. It's hard to properly burst someone. You have the Malphite, maybe the Poppy, the Ezreal, but there's not so much damage. Swain pretty slow in the damage dealing, really hard to kill, but he's just gonna stand there drain tanking and doing chip damage. And I think maybe they would have benefited from a bit more potential to just annihilate someone here. How about you?
Definitely. So I feel like I would have personally preferred a carry up in that top lane for the setup Blazing Pandas instead of the Malphite. While yes, the Malphite is good against things like the Varus, against these immobile AD carries. Something like a Gwen would absolutely tear through the side of Interstellar. Yes, you would have the Ezreal being the only sort of AD threat, but Malphite doesn't really change that. So something like a Gwen could potentially tear through a Jarvan, can get out of the Cataclysm, can play against Varus as well, who has quite a long range for himself, instead of this Malphite, who's, while yes, being a good frontline, isn't gonna offer a whole lot unless you can reach that Varus. If you look at the rest of the champions on the side of Interstellar, if you ult a Jarvan, he's gonna sit there and tank it up. He's gonna have Gore Drinker, he's gonna be a frontline anyway. If you ult the Vladimir, he pulls it. If you ult the Nautilus, he doesn't really care. Olaf can't be ulted inside of Ragnarok once he does end up activating it. So your only target and your reliable sort of person who you can ult on the side of Interstellar is gonna be this Varus. And if you can't find the Varus, I feel like the side of Blazing Pandas are gonna be, or the side of Interstellar are gonna be in a little bit of trouble. So I do feel like I'm gonna side with Interstellar here, but I feel like a lot of their game plan is gonna revolve around this Olaf. It is gonna be whether this Olaf can get ahead, because if he does fall behind, you spoke about it earlier. Yes, you can sort of press Ragnarok and run through the entire side of Blazing Pandas, but if you don't do damage, then you being able to run through their entire team sort of becomes irrelevant.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I would have loved a Gwen here, but that's why I think the Olaf pick is so big. There's not a lot of fighters or carry picks who can go toe to toe on an Olaf in lane. So by picking up the Olaf, you also buy, I think, a lot of space. Just it's hard for the Pandas. There's not so much more to pick in this situation. I think maybe the GP could have been good as well, but I was obviously also picked away. Same with the Camille, so there's not too many options left. And I think in a way maybe not too comfortable on too many other picks. So picks up the Malphite as a kind of semi-safe engaged tool here.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So Malphite, like you said, is when it comes to reliability of a champion, Malphite is definitely up there. One of the more reliable ones. Very, very easy to execute your entire kit. And sometimes it does come down to that. We talk a lot, or at least I personally, I know I talk a lot about on my casts when it comes to ease of execution, especially when it comes to SLE and some of these sort of, I don't want to say lower ranked leagues because all of these players are still very high ranked in solo queue. We have still seen the performances they can put out, but it's not like LEC level or like pro level still. So a level below that does benefit from sort of ease of execution, and Malphite belongs there. Same thing with Swain. Swain and Malphite both have the ability to just go into team fights, press their ultimate buttons, and sort of just stand there and sit there. Same thing with Poppy, although not as easy to execute. You do need to time your W well to sort of being able to cock block the Jarvan out of being able to flag and drag in. Same thing with his ultimate as well. And definitely for me, the ease of execution is gonna side the side of Blazing Pandas here. But outside of that, it's still, I feel like, gonna be a pretty much a 50-50 to who this goes to, because both of these teams have shown that they can play well. Both of these teams have shown that they have what it takes to be one of the top contesting teams on SLE.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The SLE, of course, not we're not in the LEC. However, the SLE has, I think, gained a lot of quality overall. There's a lot of good teams. We have 21 teams at the moment,
22.
I believe.
Oh
22
yeah,
teams.
21. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Shadow Whisper. But this it's a lot of teams, and I think a lot of them are also strong or have strong players on them, individuals who's able to perform. However, a lot of these teams are also, like most of them, are quite new. So there's not that much maybe experience and practice involved, and I think few players here are able to put in as much time weekly as of course an aspiring pro player maybe has at this moment. So all that practice is not there, and then I always think ease of execution is big. It's really easy to overcook, and when you are, even if you're individually a good player and you can play these complicated champs and you can use them well, it is hard to coordinate it and play it into certain styles, and it's that depth that just it comes with time, it comes with experience with playing a team for a long time, scrimming a lot and so on. I'm not sure how much all of the teams in the league scrims, right? But I think we could benefit from scrimming more, for example, but it is how it is. But we'll
Leaks?
see.
I'm hearing some tea between the greasy goblins.
Some tea?
Some tea. I'm hearing some skirmishes.
No, we haven't. I would not say we have any skirmishes. I wish we play more because we have a lot of stuff we would like to play and do and practice, but we're five people with full-time jobs, right? So there's only so much you can do. There's always someone busy, and our top laner busy putting out fires a few times a week. The fireman in the top lane, also the fireman in real life. So that's always a scheduling concern, but we're getting there. We are growing as a team, I think, and it's a great fun to be in the league in general. There's so many good teams, and it's just so much fun. I know myself, we went up against the Pandas, and I think that was a banger of a series. So a lot of good
Yeah,
matches. But
and I
Interstellar,
mean, this is like, to me, this is one of the most competitive splits we've had in the league. I know it's been talked about a lot, but this is also the biggest one we've had, like you said it yourself, 22 teams involved. 21 now, Rift Shadow Wizards Gaming, but that is still a whole lot of teams and a whole lot of talent to fit into like just one split of SLE.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and we have some known teams. I mean, Pandas are kind of a known team. It's players we know from before. But same with Vitagen, and if we look at the cheat teams, sure, a lot of new players, but also some familiar players. And this is still like an organization who's been in the league for a long time and has a lot of experience, and that's still like a factor, right? So there's a lot of experience, a lot of skill, and just high quality all around. I think this year, which is why it's so exciting. And I think we're about to head into the game here. So Dessa, take us away.
Oh, we're finally on the Rift. Both of these teams 5-1 at the moment. This is gonna mean so much to whoever can take this away, whether it is a 1-1, whether it is a 2-0. And whoever takes this game number one could have huge momentum going forward. Seeing no funny business on level 1 and looking at the runes and masteries as well and summoner spells. Is there anything you'd see that is out of picture? Anything that you think is something to pay attention to, or do you think it's all pretty bog standard for all these 10 players?
I feel like things are looking pretty standard. I'm, however, interested in the Poppy here, not opting for the blue Pokemon, the Squirtle. I think you would like, as Pandas in this game, you don't want to let Interstellar be too comfortable. So I think that movement speed bonus is big on Poppy as a champion, because you have like a lot of inert tankiness, and you can just, you go in and then you run like, well, we have a pause, so that give me some time to talk about it. I'm so bad with names sometimes. You know the thing, you do 3 attacks and then you run quick?
A
What's
phase
it
rush?
called? Yes, Phase Rush. Phase
Ah,
Rush
yeah,
is,
yeah.
a big deal on Poppy, I think. You historically you could also go after shock and stuff, but I think Phase Rush is big. You want this, you want as much movement speed as possible. When I think of Poppy, I think of an intercontinental ballistic missile, because that's the way you should play Poppy. Like, you go in, you find someone, and you murder them as much as possible, and then if they don't die, you run out. After you use your W to peel for your team and stuff, but that's fine. That's secondary. It's about, you go in, you find a weak spot and you just exploit it. But we see some interesting clearing here from Jonathan Isaac. I know from experience that he likes to start here on the Raptors and kind of do a bit of different clear. Normally I would personally start on the red, I would go up and do the standard most likely here, unless he's looking for a little cheeky level 3 in the top lane.
Definitely can. Influencing this all-off matchup in the early game could be the difference between life and death. And another thing I quickly do want to note before we head
Big
further on
trades in the bot
into
lane.
this game, as Sanix has already lost a majority of his HP, but this wave pushing in should mean that they are very much fine. And Algren does have the Arcane Comet, which does mean he will be leaning more towards a poke and lethality Varus in that bot lane, which should be interesting to see, and already some early vision coming through for the side of Interstellar.
Yeah, my guess here is that Interstellar hit level 2/3 and they took a good trade. But we can also see what I was talking about. Look at the Poppy, she's almost a camp behind here in the clear. And while Jarvan clears quite fast, I also think so does Poppy. And maybe wanted to look for something top, but there was not really the opportunity for it, so to speak, wave-wise, and now maybe falling slightly behind here in the clear. But maybe it's worth it, just to have that security in the top, and I'm sure that there's a plan behind it. Excellent ward here by Interstellar, managing to push up the bot lane, get some free time, and just get that ward in to help out their own jungler. Very well. Just a good plan all around, good fundamentals here. So something's going on.
Jonathan, Isaac, and Hyalar are gonna meet in the jungle, our first scruffle of the game, but with the prio for Interstellar down towards that bot lane, it is not a fight that you want to be taking if you are Jonathan Isaac. Kinvalar is looking for a potential hook here, did walk up a little bit aggressively, but like you said yourself, this is a tip for everyone in solo queue as well. If you do get that if you get that wave pushed in, as hold that thought, Reindeer is gonna flip and Ghost in that mid lane. He's gonna hit the claw, which means he's gonna get himself a couple of stacks. But if you do get some time for yourself, which it seems like bot lane isn't gonna do, Jonathan Isaac going for a little bit of a run around, does get spotted with the good vision from Interstellar, is gonna just be held on here, hooked those two, and I'm not sure if that's the dredge line you want to necessarily be landing if you are King Valor there, but we just tossed those for zoning, and that's about it.
And I think the arrows are just relentless here in the bot lane from Algren, really punishing the bot lane of Blazing Pandas. Jalern finding a good gank, and we have another gank coming in, Jonathan Isaac on it, but you know, Vladimir's gonna do what Vladimir does, he just becomes a pool and he just floats away, no problem.
Is gonna be invulnerable in his pool there, which means the gank is gonna go away. A big wave here on the top side, gonna be crashed by Marcus, which does mean that he should be able to get himself a nice base. Mickey is a little bit low, could look for a dive
here. I think dying, if you can trade here and you die and deny this wave, it's massive.
I mean, it's fine, yeah, but Marcus no mana. Doesn't have, but okay, then that is interesting position from Mickey D, getting just battered in that top lane. You cannot be walking that far up on that little HP if you are the Malphite. And our first kill of the game going to Marcus is gonna be a solo ball. Jonathan Isaac is gonna try up around TP as well coming through Marcus. He does have the ghost, but has no mana as well. Ragnarok is available, is gonna be CC immune and gonna just right click to his tower. A good play from Marcus means that Interstellar are gonna be leading.
Excellent player in the top lane, and I think you could also see when we looked at Olaf here that he was maxing the E. I'm not sure what it's called, but it does a lot of true damage, and just like not respecting this, walking up on the Malphite with this low HP, no mana, you know, like sure you have flash and stuff, but it doesn't matter if you just get one shot, and it's understandable. You don't want to lose this big wave because you're gonna quickly fall apart here in the top lane if this Olaf gets base essentially, but bit of desperation play almost, I feel like, and maybe should have tried to call up Jonathan Isaac earlier there, and just to alleviate the pressure here. It seems like the trades are starting to change in the bot lane. Oh, good hook!
Ooh, there's one coming through. Keep in mind, Challeran is around if they commit for this too hard. Sonics does still have that arcane shift to get himself on out. Ghost popped by Algren, interestingly.
Jonathan Isaac's down here as well.
Here comes the Poppy. They don't see him at the moment. Challeran is just gonna take over the control ward, but Jonathan Isaac is gonna be around. Here comes the Karma Lurks. He's gonna find himself a root. Challeran is gonna flash away. Ignite goes down. Jonathan Isaac flash forward is gonna mean that Jonathan Isaac picks himself up a kill and evens that goal to and only a 200 lead for Interstellar.
I think it's an excellent pathing here from Jonathan Isaac going down through the lane. You know, you have a push here from your bot lane, and things have kind of shifted a bit. You had the trade coming in, and you know that Jarvan's down here, but kind of some disrespect on the side of Jalern here, not knowing where the Poppy are, but still going for it, thinking he's safe. But there's just no backup from your bot lane when they got chunked out as much as they did here beforehand. And now Pandas can tempo this into a free Drake. Excellent job, and just great move here on the Poppy, and it doesn't matter, you're down like 10 creep score, right? But it doesn't matter too much. Your job is not to farm, your job is to get stuff going and to assist your team, and he's doing a great job. We see a little gank here in the top lane.
Right, he's gonna make his way over. Ragnarok is available to be used. Marcus is gonna find himself one. Can he find himself another one? Randy is just gonna drain. Is gonna pick himself up an angry Viking in that top lane. A one from, but Randy does have to be careful as Jalern is around with King Valor as well being in the top side. Could look for a Herald play, but it's gonna be a 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
I think it's a good attempt here, punishing the Olaf, and that's something I think they should be doing on the side of Pandas. But Marcus plays it well here, knows the strength of this champion. It's just so hard to fight an Olaf, especially when he's got like, you know, some damage. I think he had a pickaxe before he went back to base potentially here, and it's a lot of damage, and you're still Malphite. You go in, you had a flash, you could potentially have flashed out and maybe left the cleanup duty to Rain D, but you know, you want to make sure you get the kill, and it's understandable.
That was very close. For a second, I did think Lurgs was under tower, and if he would have, it would have definitely spelled his demise. But the Chains of Corruption are gonna come out in the bot lane, which means Algren will be without an ulti for a minute or two. So far, we are seeing a pretty even game on our hands, a lot of fighting back and forth, and this is exactly what we do want to see. Both of these teams want to play an aggressive style. Mickey D does have to be a little bit careful in that top lane because, like you mentioned it yourself, Panini, Marcus has been picking himself up a couple of kills, and if this Olaf picks himself up a few more kills, the little do you know, next thing he's gonna be running now is gonna be your AD carry, and there's nothing you can do about it if he gets too far ahead.
Yeah, and I think they also managed to force the flash in the bot lane. And I was about to say that I think the Poppy might be looking to come down here just to make some stuff happen and play around the bot side now that there's a weakness. But you might have to just throw Michidi here in the trash can, you know, like there's not so much you can do. You're a Poppy and you're a Malphite, sure you have some CC, but your damage is not high enough to kill this Olaf. And if he has the Ragnarok, he's gonna pop it and he's gonna kill you both. So just telling Michidi like, you know, oh, a great turnaround, excellent
Okay.
kill. Wow, Marcus getting way too aggressive, like greedy there. Michidi just punishing the over aggression very well to just recognize the opportunity there and punishing it. Great play, love to see it.
Speaking of having the Ragnarok, yeah, you have it, but if you don't get those autos off, it's gonna run out very, very soon, and it does run out. Mickey D turns it around with the unstoppable force, picks himself up a kill. Like you said it yourself, Marcus being a little bit over easy, over hesitant there out towards that top lane. We do see a gang coming through down this bot lane. Algren no sums on him, does have that ghost, but no flash. Isaac is making his best effort to make his way over, but King
Excellent
Valher with
play by King Valkyrie.
beautiful healing is gonna sacrifice himself for the life of his AD carry. Hjalmar is around, does have that flag and drag. Here comes the flag, here comes the drag. Lurgs having to burn his flash out of Cataclysm. Sanix is gonna be in trouble as well. The arrow goes on to Lurgs, the snipe from
Oh, and here comes
Algren.
Vladimir.
Gorzo is gonna make his way over. He's gonna get the top kill as well. Randy is here, but Randy is too damn late.
The dive angle.
In front of him, there's nothing he can do after, so he's gonna be able to pop the ultimate there. Is gonna be forced out. He's gonna run out very soon, but they could potentially turn this around as well onto the Swain. The claw is good. It's gonna hit two. Flash comes through. Flash out from Rain as well, but he's gonna go down. Does end up popping that ghost as well. The snipe comes through from Algren, and Hjalmar with the flash forward is gonna pick up that kill. Jonathan Isaac has respawned, has made his way down. It's gonna be the true shot barrage hitting Hjalmar and nothing else. It also could be in trouble. No pull yet, I believe, is gonna be available. Does get knocked up against the wall. That second stack is coming through, which means he should get a healing up. Ignite comes through as well. Lurgs is gonna be in trouble. Does get hit by that dredge line. Jonathan Isaac could look for a potential stun here down towards his bot lane. So many members of Interstellar are low. There is no fight left in them. Flag and drag should be able to get Hjalmar out of the
Great
pit,
job by Hjalmar.
and he's gonna make his way out, and somehow all of Interstellar members live this in prolonged engagement.
Yeah, and then just look at this. It's such a great move here by King Valkyrie. He buys so much space for Algren just to perform, and he dies for his team. But in doing so, he like all of this is of his just excellent performance here. And then you have the Jarvan coming down, manage to just punish the thing and set up for the dive as well. Vladimir coming down. Like I think we end up seeing a 4-for-1 here in the end, as well as a couple of plates. It's just a great play, and we have a Drake coming up here very soon as well. Oh, and it's a solo kill in the top lane from Marcus.
Another one, and it was a 4-4-1 down towards the bot lane, which means Interstar is going to be in a gold lead of about 1.5 thousand for now. And like you said, Dragon coming up is going to go over to the side of Blazing Pandas, unless Hjalmar can go for a steal here. Does have that smite available. I believe he's going to try, but it's going to be too late. Jonathan Isaac is very low here as the fight is going to kick off. Randy is going to pop his ultimate as well as trying to drain as much as he can. TP from Mickey D, unstoppable force, not going to be up, so this Malphite is not as useful as that's your thing, but the flash forward should be able to pick himself up a kill. True shot barrage is going to snipe. Are they going to have the damage? King Valor doing his best to keep his AD carry alive, but is not going to do it. Going to die himself in the process as well, and double kill for Rain D as Blazing Pandas are gonna hit back.
I think a great punish from Pandas coming down here, investing the teleport, also recognizing the tempo advantage they had and just going for this Drake. Although it's a bit of a greedy play, but they managed to pull it off, and I absolutely don't see why Interstellar commits here into punishing it. You already lost the Drake. You know there's 4 members down here, and even if the Malphite's dead, you know the dev timers are pretty short, so the teleport just comes in and it helps to clean. As a consolation, they get some more pressure in the top lane, gets another wave or two, get some plates. Same for the mid lane, and it's always something. But still, 2k goal lead for Interstellar. Two Drakes in the bag of Blazing Pandas, and this is a really interesting game. I'm curious if we're gonna see them have another fight soon, as the Herald is about to show up, and I love a Herald fight.
Definitely. So there has been a lot of fighting this game already. A 2k gold lead you can see for Marcus in that top lane. A 1500 gold lead in that jungle for Interstellar. And bot lane is the only lane for them that is ahead. But the dredge line lands onto Lurks. You cannot be there, my friend. If you have no team behind you, he's gonna take it out very early on. And you wanted a Rift Herald fight. That is not much of a fight. That is a catch. For the side of Interstellar, Herald is going to be started up as well, 6000 HP. Mickey D is the only one who is around, and it is going to be the first Herald of the game going to Interstellar.
I think it's a great pickup here. It's a great, just a great pick in general. Like good dredge line, and also we have a fight in the bot lane.
Sanik's gonna be under threat. Ragnarok does get popped, but this might not be enough as he's gonna get taken out. The shutdown for Sanix, and it is exactly what Blazing Pandas needed. The Angry Viking finding himself in a fight that he should not be taking.
I'm not sure what to tell you, but I feel like we're watching a boxing game here. It's Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather as we're fighting again.
Coloran is gonna find himself a kill. Lurks again in no man's land, but should have the flag strike very soon. Might be able to make his way out. Core does not connect, but Mickey B is gonna find his way over. Jonathan Isaac with a little bit of words overzealous of a flash. Algren does have a flash of his own if they do want to try go for a play here. This first might be relatively safe. King Valor is around as well, and like you said it yourself, a boxing match between these two teams, just back and forth, jabs left and right, but Algren is going to find himself a recall stop in the mid lane. Jonathan Isaac does get dredge line Viking Valor here. The arrow should come through a little bit of a chunk, but nothing more in the mid lane, as both of these teams have finally said that let's stop fighting for now and let's just chill.
Absolutely, and suddenly we see Randy sitting here on 5 kills with a shutdown. Just this swing is really getting massive. I think we see another kind of overreach here for Marcus going for it, but not really being strong enough now, and 3/4 also scaling up nicely, but neither of these teams are willing to back down. They're not giving an inch, and they just keep fighting for it. And you love to see it, at me at least, when we're sitting at over a kill a minute. It's just wonderful to see, and even with this kind of a bit scaling drafts, there's a lot of scaling on both teams, I would say. It's nice to keeping it enjoyable. It's perfect. It's just what we needed.
Definitely so, and like I said earlier, with the keystone on Algren being the arcane comet, it does mean that he has opted into that Yomos build. It is going to be now confirmed with him having finished up that Yomos. Is going to be going Lethality Varus in this case. And I do want to hear your opinion on this, Panini, because there is a Malphite and there is a potential swing you have to break through. So do you think this was the right call for the side of Interstellar, or do you prefer, or do you think the potential Kraken Slayer into the Ginsu might have been better this time around?
I mean, personally, I would prefer the Kraken Slayer build. There's going to be a lot of targets just in front of you, running up to you, kind of, that you got to kite out. I can still see the idea of going for the lethality just to poke out these kind of squishier targets, but then you need someone else to do the damage, kind of, and you have a Vladimir, you have an Olaf, kind of to do this target, but I'm curious what we're gonna see on an Olaf. Maybe if he picks up a Blade of the Ruined King or similar, it can be fine, but in my opinion, I prefer the Gwynch's build over. We have a great fight.
Ooh, unstoppable force is gonna come through. It's gonna be Heller who falls up first now. The piercing arrow is not gonna do enough. Marcus is gonna be in the middle of 5 people. It's not gonna be enough. Randy is gonna pop that ultimate and gonna drain the Angry Viking to his tomb. The Dorzo has that ghost pop, is raring, looking to go. You can see him walk up, seeing if he can find much Mickey B. Gonna be the target down. No unstoppable force for this Malphite. Crucial Barrage. He's gonna hit 2 people, not gonna be enough. There comes the depth charge. It's gonna be onto Randy, who just runs away. Now back that one out, and just Interstellar not having tools they need. Sanix is gonna be looking for some poke damage as well. Still hunting, still trying to find the arrow comes through, but not able to steal the objective away this time, as it's gonna be Blazing Pandas who are 18 minutes into the game, one Drake away from that soul.
Yeah, and once again we see both teams not willing to back down here. They're both committing, but I felt like Interstellar was just not in a position where they were ready to take the fight if they would be matched by Pandas, and it's a great job by Pandas just recognizing that these guys they're overstepping here. We can fight, and they just pull the trigger. You blow up the front line, and if there's no front line, this Varus can't really play, even if they did a brave attempt at trying to wrestle some control and potentially getting a kill back. But with the Poppy chunking out the Vladimir, great E, it's just that there's nothing to do, and they have to concede another Drake. And now Pandas has some things to play for here. They are potentially falling off a bit harder than Interstellar are, and they are down 400 goals, but they have a great win con in the next Drake. They can take it or trade it for Baron, so there's a lot of options here, and I think if they play the macro well and they, you know, they just... Oh, they have another fight.
Jonathan Isaac gonna be with a dredge line. The knockback is good. It's gonna knock back two. Sanix is looking for Algren. Algren is gonna have to pop that ghost to get himself on out. But Jonathan Isaac, without the ultimate, is gonna be pretty vulnerable on this poppy now. Baron is gonna be spawning in 5 seconds. So both teams looking for this top side vision, looking for any pressure they can get on this side of the map. But you can see the members of Blazing Pandas are grouping up together. They are looking for these big team fights, and so far that has been working out.
Absolutely. We have another pick here is big, and now we have Randy, 600 gold shutdown, absolute unit here. And this is what we were just discussing. I think in this case, I don't think you want to have the lethality Varus. I should stay in the mid lane. In the bot lane, you want the just machine gun Varus instead to gun down Randy when it goes in. But now it's gonna be tough, and it's not gonna get any easier if it continues like it does now. But that's a lot of damage from the Vladimir. Also getting some items in here. We see him picked up the Dark Seal, where he's been holding it for a while. 3 stacks. Still not dead. And with this many fights, I'm surprised there's not more of them. But let's see what happens as we go forward here. Potentially, Baron is up, can try to pull some members apart, and it's a bit scary when your Jarvan is down here. Are Algren getting pulled out?
What?
Great pickup.
Algren is gonna be finding himself in the tomb. Sanix is gonna have to burn himself an arcane shift to get away from that death charge, but it's gonna be enough. King Valor falling pretty low as well. Trisha Barrage not gonna be up for any snipes for Sanix. They're gonna move towards the Baron. I would have liked to see them maybe grab the mid wave first before this Baron, but nonetheless it is gonna get started up. Baron is gonna use his knockup fairly early on, which means it should be pretty safe. Marcus is gonna be looking though on the top side. Gonna find himself a Mickey D in the bush. Again, a little bit overzealous. Ragnarok is gonna have to be popped. Trisha Barrage comes out, but it's not gonna do enough damage. Challenger is around 8,000 down. This Baron 6,000, 5,000, falling ever so quickly to rain these Leandries on that Swain, but Zedorzo is still looking, is still around, so is Challenger. But the unstoppable force is so good to stop these steals. Zedorzo is gonna find himself in. He's gonna be able to pick himself up a kill. That's gonna be Lurks falling once again. The rest of the team is making a run for the hills. Blazing Pandas trying to get out Challenger. It's definitely gonna be looking here. Cataclysm is gonna be available in just a moment as well for himself.
Look at the mid lane. Look at mid lane.
Scary in the mid lane. Marcus is gonna be pushing
fighting.
on in. Challenger is gonna be looking for a fight. Cataclysm knocks back 3, but it's not necessarily gonna be where you wanna be stuck. You are not stuck with me. I am stuck here with you, my friend, as Randy just pops the ultimate on over Zedorzo. Not having an ultimate of his own is gonna mean that he doesn't have the tools for this fight. Randy just is unkillable on that Swain, and he just cannot die mid lane. Marcus ends up falling as well, and he just falls apart so quickly for Interstellar when it looked so damn good.
Yeah, I think it looked really good here, but just overextending a bit, and look at Algren just walking way too deep. Really wants to join this fight, but suddenly you're caught out between the teams, and you can't really get the damage through, right? So you have to run back around, forced out to flash. Olaf commits, dies to Sanix, and on the other side your team's just losing the fight because Randy is just too damn big. He's just gigantic, giant chunker here, just killing everyone, eating it. Eating good. And the problem with this for Interstellar is that now you don't have tempo for the soul either. Pandas is just already setting up vision. They have the Baron. They are very comfortable here now, and they're looking poised actually to take this game. I think Interstellar looked. Oh, we're fighting again. potentially.
A Hextech
Yeah,
Soul
we're
could be
fighting.
dangerous. Ragnarok is gonna be popped, and that is bad news for the side of Interstellar. Ragnarok was your tool to make it to the backline in front of all these tanks, but if you won't have it now, Hjalmar is gonna have to be the hero. Mickey D looking for a potential flanker. They are gonna find the Malphite, and they do have him
Malphite
outnumbered.
still
They do have
have
him
ult.
cornered here, but here comes the dragon, 8000 HP, 7000 HP. Not sure you want to be flipping this if you are basic Pandas. Good luck for an engager. Unstoppable Force is going to be available, but remember, Marcus, no Ragnarok means he's got no way to avoid all of this CC alert. Is going to be 1 HP as well. Unstoppable Force is going to hit 3, but is it going to be enough to do a depth charge onto Sanix? But this swing is too damn big. Sanix is just unkillable, still full HP, and they said, screw the dragon, we're going to leave Sanix to do that. We want more. We want this mid lane. We want your Nexus, and we will have the gold lead at 5,000 gold.
Yeah, massive fighter from the Pandas, just recognizing their strong position here in the river. It's really hard for Interstellar to walk in, and at that they're also split up. And Pandas are completely fine, not just bursting this Drake. They want to fight. They want to get a hold of Interstellar and just finish the job. And I must say, Michidi holding the ult there. I saw multiple times where, like, if you're you're the solo queue Malphite player, you're ulting, but he just held it until the end, until it was absolutely necessary to use it. He uses it for a gigantic pick, and Algren is almost one shot as Michidi just comes flying in. Great fight from the Pandas, who's now poised to end this game. And I think Interstellar, they're looking a bit disjointed. They're a bit stressed, I feel like.
Definitely does feel like that, and I do have to commend, like you said it yourself, Mickey D, the patience on that unstoppable force. Holds it, holds it, holds it, and bang, finds himself the angle, finds 3 alongside that, and Marcus just hasn't really been able to get anything done this game outside of the couple of early game solo kills that he got. Look at that, already half HP, less than half HP, and he's barely done anything. This Hextech Drake is being so brutal for the Olaf to work around.
Hextech Drake potentially being just the best Drake in the game. It's so useful in so many ways. Like the attack speed bonus, the slows, the damage. I love this great Drake. It's my personal favorite, especially when you play stuff like Maokai and King's Pope. But here, going in, and I
Ooh.
think, yeah, Marcus bites the dust here. Good pickup by Pandas, a bit of an overextension, and once again, Interstellar, they're just struggling with this pressure. There's just like Death Ball now running around, just killing anyone who's not not staying safe.
Blazing Pandas do I feel like they are the more team. They are the team that are playing together more, and it's gonna be Jalarian who's gonna get knocked off here. The red line is good, so is the left charge, but the knockout is even better from the side of Mickey D. He's gonna find everybody. He's gonna find the back line. Blazing Pandas are gonna find the side of Interstellar, almost getting themselves an ace and just getting so many of these objectives alongside that, and the gold lead just balloons and balloons over to 7,000 gold. Zedorzo is gonna be the lone wolf here trying to defend this in hit, but there is nothing you can do against the 4 squad strong on the side of Interstellar, with this Baron spawning up very, very soon as well.
Yeah, and we commended Michidi earlier, and I think we should do it again because I believe he was what 0-3 in lane, nearly somewhere around that, and he's now sitting at 3-13. Great performance, especially on a champion, like in a matchup where you're really struggling because Marcus just the Olaf massive got ahead, just managed to push this advantage, but you find that one solo kill back, and then you manage to come in, play for your team, pick up some kills, pick up some assists, and now you're just on a roll. And Rain D 11-1 as Jalern is looking for a pick here, but I'm not sure that's the pick you want to go for, as this Poppy is not it's scary. It's not the problem.
Jonathan Isaac extremely tanky as well. The fight is gonna kick off. Mickey D again finds the ultimate and the back line, and they are just falling like chess pieces on the side of Interstellar. Zedorzo flash away is gonna find himself nothing but the grave. Lurgs alone in that mid lane. Algren is gonna be hunted by the big old rock. Mickey D, no unstoppable force, no flash. He's just gonna have to make a slow waddle over to the Barrett, but Mertz is gonna be able to find himself a 1v1 with Jolaren in this mid. I'm not sure though who wins this. It is gonna be Jolaren on that Jarvan, and now they're looking for the base of Interstellar. Blazing Panda said they've had enough. Even Mickey D said no more chasing around the Barretts, as they are gonna look to end the game. The good hook does go over to Sanix, which does mean Sanix is gonna actually fall. This could be very, very dangerous for the side of Blazing Panda. They're gonna put a couple of kills, but Mickey D is so damn unkillable on that Malphite that he's gonna fall to very low HP, but not gonna be enough to take him out. So Bullet Force once again got a snipe. The Paris Algren falls once more. Yelleren trying to see what he can do to keep this on. Zedorzo now does end up respawning, does come back up, but the 3-man strong on the side of Blazing Pandas is gonna end this game, and Rain D having an absolute blast for himself.
Absolutely. Great game here. Well played to the Pandas. I must say, I think Interstellar had an easier comp to execute, but it looked really rough early on here on the side of Pandas, but they managed to crawl it back by just playing well, using macro, using teleports, finding and punishing on these sides. And no matter how deep down the hole they were in the top lane, the Malphite doesn't need a ladder. He just flies out of there with his ultimate, perfectly, no problems. And just a great game overall. And while it was not as we thought it might turn out, it turned out great anyways. And I'm not sure what I feel like. This Varus just wasn't getting it done. Interstellar looked so good early, poised to kind of slowly creep into this game, but just the constant fighting, I don't think were healthy for them, as they kept getting they just kept losing in these skirmishes over and over and over, and you fall further and further behind, and Pandas are just running away with it. And when you don't change something that's not working, it's not gonna start working. But we will see if they can potentially bounce back in a game 2. I do think they do. I think they still looked like they had a very good plan coming into this game. Good draft, good still start of the game, good plans all around it. Just a bit more patience, and I think they can be big blow here.
Definitely so, and Interstellar being or looking like a team that was a slow and low stupor, picked themselves up a couple of early fights, small gold leads here and there, and it wasn't in the top lane, but around the map nonetheless. And Mickey D not having a great lane phase for himself, but a beautiful way to bounce back and make a dent on that game nonetheless. 5-3-15 ended the game on, and it was good to see from Blazing Pandas that they can play together that way. They can play together as a team, and this is the Blazing Pandas that we are used to seeing. This is the Blazing Pandas that when they win game 1 and they take this same mentality, they take the same momentum into game 2, they tend to be absolutely unstoppable. And it is going to be interesting to see how Interstellar choose to sort of change around the draft, what changes they are going to make, and what they are going to bring into game number 2. But while we wait for that, while we get our player set up and everything good to go, we are going to be taking a little bit of a break before we head into this draft number 2. But so don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be right back with Interstellar versus Blazing Pandas, game number 2.
And we are back from that short break, and just as this game was high-paced with a lot of kills and a lot of action, we're already heading into draft. As the action just can't stop coming, not the draft action either. And you know me, I love drafting. We all love drafts, and we don't love fresh, so it's just going out of here. It's not allowed. No Shadow Isles here today. Braum going away as well. Just keeping to hating these hyper carries, banning Ash. I think that we're just running it back here, or?
No, it's gonna be the Swain ban coming
Oh,
through.
Swain ban?
Yeah, throwing a little bit of a monkey wrench into things, as they say, but other bans have been fairly normal so far. COG gonna be coming out as well. A lot of bot side bans, but the only change is gonna be the Swain coming through. And what do you think the first pick is gonna be on the Budget Pandas? Do you think they're gonna smack the Jarvan again, or do you think it's gonna be maybe something else?
I think that they are gonna just go into Jarvan again. I feel like it's okay,
Never mind.
80 carry. You know, I'm just gonna shut up because I want to be entertained here. I'm not gonna make it. No, I'm just gonna predict boring stuff. So now we're gonna see a Saya on the other side, and we're gonna see something else that's really boring. That's not boring. I love it. I love Wukong.
Wait,
because...
you think Wukong isn't boring?
No, I love Wukong. You didn't
Okay,
see my Wukong?
Okay, but Wukong is a champion though.
You play him like a carry and you just go in and you kill everyone. Then it's cool.
I'm sure it's fun to play, yeah.
Yes, fun to win, right? Obviously they can't do this area, so it's still kind of the hyper carry potentially. It might be a Lulu, I think. Although you probably don't have to pick it up because with the Kai'Sa you don't really want Kai'Sa Lulu. It's not really the thing you want to. You might be looking for more of a Xin Shao. Wow. Okay, we're gaming today. It's just what I wanted to see. Also from Interstellar, I think game 1, you know, you try to play pretty bog standard, just 5-man team fight, and it wasn't working out. And I feel like now you have a bit more just agency to do some you know, gaming action, a bit more mobility. Xin Shao can fight a lot early, also an attack, but an Ivern pickup. We've seen a lot of Ivern. This is also a champion that Jonathan Isaac enjoys playing. Not the most common paired with something like Kai'Sa, unless this is a Kai'Sa mid lane. Not impossible. It is a flex champion after all. Ivern, of course, can still boost most types of champs and is just a overall very strong champion. Not the most exciting to watch, but very strong nonetheless. Quite tanky, shields, everything, and that's the Jace. I'm gonna guess that this is going into the pocket of Rain-D. Rain-D has been playing this to a very high level, I would say so far, having good performances on it. Which probably means that this is a Kai'Sa in the bot lane, unless they're really greasy and they're putting the Jace in the top lane and the Ivern as the AD carry and the Kai'Sa in the jungle or something. I don't know.
I would love to see it. You know, that level of cooking is something we are yet to unsee. It's gonna be the Akali picked up in the mid lane, potentially into that Jace, potentially into something else. We're gonna have to see. Like you said, could go into that top lane, might be, or it is the most likely to go into that top lane. I expect for the Kai'Sa not to be mid lane, as there are still some fairly good options to pair the Kai'Sa with down towards that bot lane. The things that I'm still thinking of, or are that things that are in my head, are things like the Nautilus, are things like the Blitzcrank potentially. A lot of these hook CC champions, Rel as well, is still open, both supports being hidden for the moment, and Zeri being the AD carry on the side of Interstellar does leave them as well with a lot of options. You can opt into a sort of tanky support who can just run around the map, or you can opt into something enchanting like the Lulu that you mentioned earlier, which can just buff up that Zeri in towards that late game and potentially some of the early levels as well. We do see the Poppy Lulu bank coming through for, interestingly enough, Interstellar gonna be the one banning the Lulu
Why?
instead of Blazing Pandas.
I'm really curious about the Poppy ban here on the side of Interstellar. You have a lot of dashes as well, but this, I mean, of course, this Ivern can go into the top lane or something. We saw Ant on it the other day, but I wouldn't expect it, considering that it's something that Jonathan Isaac plays quite a lot and to a good level as well. So it's a surprising ban, and I think it should have maybe been put somewhere else, but they might know more than we do. They might have 100 scream results that we haven't seen yet, no. But I'm surprised we haven't seen any Maokai priority here. Also a champion, which is very strong currently and just overall solid. But opting in for the Blitzcrank, and you know what I love about this? There's a Interstellar just said, you know what? We're just gonna pick the solo queue. We're just gonna fight you. We're gonna go into the jungle. We're gonna hunt you down, and we're gonna murder you wherever we find you. They're gonna look for stuff, and I think no matter how this game goes, Interstellar's gonna like have fun regardless. I imagine. And a Gnar potentially here from the side of Blazing Pandas. Gnar, solid pick, good into a lot of stuff. I think it's a quite safe pick. There's not too many counters into it, and it will be locked in there in the top lane for Michi D. I also believe he has played it before to playing it quite well, and might end this up with a Rel. So quite low on the AP here. Kai'Sa probably forced to go full more on a AP build, but might be enough. There's not a lot of front line on the side of the Interstellar, and we're gonna see what they pick up here. I imagine it's a pick for the top lane, saving the best for last.
It's gonna be an Ornn lock-in. I'm 100% confident that they're gonna be, you know, boring on their last pick. Well, okay, they are gonna be boring on their last pick, but not Ornn levels of boring. It's gonna be the Malphite once again up towards that top lane, and this time around is gonna be swapped. It is gonna be Interstellar with that Malphite in their hands, and this game, you know, I feel like we both might agree on who won draft, but nonetheless, no matter who wins this game, I feel like this is gonna be an absolute bloodbath. Both teams are just gonna try to beat each other up for like at least the first 20 minutes of the game. After that, things may calm down a little bit, but then I'm definitely here for it. This is gonna be a fun game for us to cast.
But I love that Interstellar just does something fun, right? And they just try to shape it up, and I think that they just want to change it, and that's what you should do when things aren't working at all. Just change everything up, try something new. You know, if you play the same and you get beaten in the way you did last game, you might as well just try something else. And when you look at this team, in my head, it's like, you know, the Zeri lock-in. You have your AD carry. This is solo queue. You lock it in first pick Zeri. You're like, I saw Upset play this at Worlds. I'm gonna pick Zeri. He locks it in. We goes to the jungler. Jungler goes, you know, it's solo queue. I'm gonna invade. I'm picking Xin Shao. No one plays Xin Shao now, but I saw a Chinese like Chin Chao and in like LPL or something, doing something crazy with AP, you know? Locks that in. Akali, OTP in the mid lane, locks in Akali, regardless, doesn't care. It's Jace, I don't care. We go down to the bot lane. Blitz Crank thinks, oh, hook champ's good, but they banned my fresh. I will go Blitz. And then finally, you have the autofill top lane who just goes, what's good in top? And someone says, pick Malphite and press R. And that's Interstellar's comp, and I'm really down for it, and I really hope they make it work because that would be amazing.
I think you just described every one of my solo queue games for the past like 2 weeks, pretty much in a nutshell. It hasn't been working out for me, but it's been a sad time. But it might be a less sad time of Interstellar, seeing what they can do, seeing what they can pull this off. Honestly, I feel like it is gonna be a 2-0 today for the side of Blazing Pandas, and interestingly enough, this week overall has been only 2-0s. Gucci Yang 2-0 Greasy Goblins, Vitagen 2-0 Black Lotus, Slim Odds 2-0 Powder Monkey. So if they're gonna 2-0 Interstellar on the side of Blazing Pandas, they are gonna keep up the trend, and we could potentially, depending on how matchups go, see an entire week of 2-0s, but one day at a time, and it'll be definitely interesting to see which one of these teams and how they interact with each other going to game number 2. But do you think Blazing Pandas won this draft, or do you think Interstellar might potentially have a chance?
I believe production just told me that the police are on their way to your house as you just leaked the entire SLE script for this week. No, but I I think Blazing Pandas has a more solid comp here. It's also, as we spoke about, kind of ease of execution, right? Of course, Interstellar can just press R and try to fight, but in the team environment and the way we play with control, and it's often, the games are in a way slow, even if there's a lot of action and fighting. You still are able to communicate, you're able to ward, and you're able to take decision with some, using some neurons in your brain, right? So I think the comp is easier just to execute. It's good, it's solid, it's got a bit of everything, and I would expect Pandas to take it here. As much as I would like Interstellar to go for the, break the script a bit and go for the 1-1. But yeah, as you say, a week of a lot of 2-0s, but that's how it goes sometimes, and close games can easily shift in this thing, and yeah, it is how it is, but I'm excited. It's gonna be great. I think this is a banger, and I don't know about you. I'm getting restless just waiting for this game to start because I expect this Shinshao to invade this Ivern. Like, you see, the thing about the Ivern is that there are like only a few ways kind of you clear an Ivern early on. There's not too much variation because as Ivern, you want to full clear, and then you want to do a little gank, and then you go back and you clear a quadrant or something, and you go do this gaming. And as Xin Shao, if you can predict where the Ivern starts, you can very easily invade him because Ivern is quite low early on. You might get level 2 decently fast because you probably smite one of your buffs, the second one you take, but that you're not healthy and you don't have any combat power. Ivern is really a champ which unlocks at level 6 even if you do have some ganking potential, and you often see Iverns ganking when they have downtime. So it's a lot of potential there. So if we should now like speak about the ways I think Interstellar have to win, it's like Xin Shao should really press on to punish Ivern. You have an Akali which can potentially, be pretty quick on the roams, and you have a Blitzcrank who can go for hooks when it comes to the team fight. So there are some tools still, and I mean like a Malphite ulting in, that's still like a danger, right? You ult this Jace, maybe it makes it so you can land a blitz hook. You pull in the thing into Akali. Akali finishes off Jace. Kaisa just has a hard time playing. It's a lot of things, but I will also credit Pandas with picking up the Rally. I think it's a great pickup considering you have the Kaisa, because when you first look at the top 3 picks, Jace, Ivern, Kaisa, there's not really anything for Kaisa to ult on here. It's hard to play, but like with the AP Kaisa, more poke oriented, you have Jace, Kaisa, you can poke a bit, you have the Rel and Gnar for the engage and the kind of screening as well with the Daisy. I quite like it actually.
Yeah, definitely so. And it is gonna have to be King Valhar and Jollar just making those plays together. Like you said it yourself, Ivern is a pretty one-dimensional champion. when it comes to these early clears, and obviously being one of, if not the champion, that is the weakest on level 1. I genuinely can't think of another champion aside from maybe Yumi who's weaker than Ivern in that level 1, and it is gonna have to, I feel like, be invade central for Interstellar if they do want to make something happen. And you do, like you said, you have the Blitzcrank, you can get those early hooks in. You have to burn these early flashes. Jace, without a flash, can be very, very killable when you have things like the Blitzcrank, when you have things like the Zinzao, even that Malphite past 6, once you have that unstoppable force. Jace not having an entire lot of mobility outside of that acceleration gauge, which does give you a little bit of movement speed, but no really main dashes, means that this Jace can be very, very vulnerable. And I would personally expect an AP Kai'Sa coming through. Like you said, if you do have that AP Kai'Sa, you or not necessarily full AP Kai'Sa, but more towards that, as the static shift and Nashor should give you that W and E evolve, which does mean you can get to poking, and alongside that Jace, those Shock Blast plus Void Seeker combo does tend to get pretty unplayable against pretty damn quick. If you do play against it, I know I've at least run into it in solo queue a couple of times, and it feels a little bit unplayable, especially as an AD carry. But we move nonetheless, and it'll still be an interesting match between these two teams. And if Interstellar can take this with the draft they have drafted for themselves, I don't know about you, Panini, but I for one will be very impressed.
Yes, I agree. I think something Interstellar did here is what we did on Gucci last year. We had a quite rough split. We weren't really getting it to work with just playing like kind of the meta, so to speak, right? But we found like that one way for us to succeed was to just say, you know what? I was close to swearing. I did not swear. So it's good. But you just say, okay, whatever. We're picking stuff that wants to fight, and we plan to make this game chaotic as possible, and then we just trust that we have the hands to play it out, and it often worked. So I would honestly not be super surprised if that's the case for Interstellar, because as we spoke about earlier, today is their first really proper test. I feel like we're gonna see what they're made of here, and maybe that they're like insane, just gods when it comes to fighting or something. I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to it. I would also apologize to all the people in chat who's getting hungry from my picture. I've read a comment and it seems like a lot of people would like some. I believe this is a grilled cheese sandwich, kind of not the classical panini, in my opinion, but tasty nonetheless. You can get yours after the game at the SLE booth together with your complimentary merch, and there's a bubblehead.
Is there gonna be? So I do want to get into that a little bit. Do you think there's gonna be a Panini pop-up shop opening up very soon? It can be sponsored by SLE, home deliveries and everything. Or do you think
Absolutely.
it's
We're partnering with Grubhub and
oh
Foodora for instant deliveries of fresh sandwiches. They are a bit greasy, and you might find an Aphelios snack in here or there, but you never know. But on that note, we gotta leave here as we go into game. Take us away, Dessa.
finally into the Rift 104 Blazing Pandas? For the moment, we do see a quick 5-stack coming through on the bot side, and no, interestingly enough, aggressive 5 points coming out from Blazing Pandas. They do know that this is somewhat going. They do somewhat know that this is going on, and Interstellar is gonna be doing a little bit of a sneaky invade here.
I love the chat, by the way, here.
I was trying to ignore it, but hey man, you know what? It is. Although I do want to say that it is good to see. Like SLE is a community-run tournament. After all these players are just here to have fun, play a good bit of League of Legends, and even after a defeat, it is good to see that both teams are still in good spirits and just really just excited to be here and excited to be on the Rift.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think that's something, as a player myself, who I'm in here with a bunch of rookies and stuff, and we don't really have any expectations. We're just here to play. We love to play League, and it's just fun, to play with your friends, kind of. But I must say, I really love the SLE community. There's just it's just so enjoyable. Of course, I think a lot of teams have different ambition level. They put in different amount of practice, right? But I still think everyone can kind of enjoy this together, and it's always like fun to banter a bit, you know, talk some shit, throw some memes in the shitpost channel. You know, Ogama is a frequent enjoyer of this channel and everything. So, but we see here the Ivern starting out on the blue side. The thing you can often do is if you're the Xin Xiao and Ivern starts on the red side, and let's say you started out on the blue, just at the scenario, he can still potentially do it here as well. Is you know Ivern often takes his first 3 camps, and then he crosses over to take 1 or 2 more camps. So he takes buff, a bit of a trader in the bot lane, some good damage coming out.
Flash in, ignite going down, double fight forward, as well from the Interstellar. King Valor is gonna be in trouble. Sanix is so HB reliant that he's gonna be finding himself in a kill there as well. Algren is stepping up stepping up a little bit too far forward. Double kill for Sanix there, and I will admit I'm a little bit confused as to what Algren was planning there, but it's going to be the way he pushed in, and it's going to be just outside the tower, which means Sanix is going to have to stick around for a little bit longer than he would have wanted to, but still a 2-kill lead for the side of Blazing Pandas very early on.
We have the replay coming in here. Great damage onto Lurgs here initially, and it looks like it will be a kill on the side of Interstellar, but Lurks surviving with a sliver of health, and Kai'Sa manages to pick up King Valor here. But I'm not quite sure about Algren going in here. It's an interesting play, but I respect the dedication, dying together with your support, you know. As we said, it's kind of, you need to commit to the kind of crazy play style when you play a comp like this, and I presume that's what they were doing there.
Yeah, it's just you go all in or you don't go in at all, and Algren is gonna be going all in there for damn sure, making sure that if you take out my support, I'm gonna either take you out or be taken out with him. There is no takesies, backsies, and we do see good vision coverage as well from the side of Interstellar down towards that bot side, making sure that they are absolutely safe, but they would be absolutely safe nonetheless, as Little Isaac has made his way over to the top side, and it shouldn't be able to get too much done here. Marcus this time. Last game he was pushed up at this stage of the game, but this time on the Malphite is going to be Bin Chilin under his tower, and should be completely fine.
Absolutely, but a pretty tough matchup on the side of the Malphite. You already see a pretty substantial CS lead for Michi D. The Nard is able to more or less free farm, but see a gank here.
Ooh, flash being forced there by the root caller from Jonathan Isaac, and the wave should just be pushed on in. Marcus trying to use the window of the mini-Nard pop to get himself a kill there, but it's just gonna be flashless in that top lane for the next 5 minutes. And we do see Hjalmar as well finally fighting his way up towards this top side, but he isn't going to be able to find anything as Michidi is going to be going for a cheeky little base here. But so far the action has quieted down a little bit, and this mid lane, I don't expect any action anytime soon.
No, I agree, and great job. It's also good to just respect as we see a fight here in the mid lane.
Oh, that interaction. Getting knocked back by the hammer. If Randy got hit by the Shuriken there, he might have been in a little bit of trouble, as Akali is a little bit known for doing a lot of damage with that Shuriken. It is kind of the do or die situation. Holoran is now looking for this mid lane gag. Randy does have that flash available. Zedorzo having no setup of his own on Akali means that Randy might have to burn his flash. The hammer knockback is good platform from Holoran. The Shuriken is going to connect, and Zedorzo finds himself a kill into that mid lane.
I think it's a great commit here. This is what you want the Xin Xiao to do, right? But it's good also committing the flash. I think a bit of disrespect here from Rain D. Thinking you can just kind of like outplay it, right? Not respecting the flash coming in, as we have a trade in the bot lane, and it looks like Lurks might be caught out. This looks very familiar to what we saw less a minute ago, but this time they both keep calm and nothing is going on, as Xin Xiao is taking the Drake here, but Ivern is in position. They might look to contest here. Smite's only at 600 at this point of the game, and will he see it?
There's a kill.
That's a kill in the bot lane
as well, and Dragon is gonna be falling for the side of Interstellar, but what can they do? They are gonna be in trouble. Inside the Blazing Palace, shield does come through, and Zedorzo is gonna be very, very low. That the R2 just does not connect. Sanic's flash forward with those missiles is gonna take out Zedorzo. They're on a rampage on that Kaisa, and Hjalmar did manage to pick himself up a Drake, but I personally wouldn't call that worth. It is a Cloud Drake nonetheless.
I totally agree. And now this Kaisa is sitting at 4-0. It's starting to look quite scary. And I think while you were able to play it, play these fights in the bot lane, you're not going to be able to much longer. And as this Blitzcrank, of course, is always the magical hook you could go for. And they're staying. Punishing Rain D, no flash. Great
Good
pickup.
flash forwards there. Randy is gonna fall, and this is what I was talking about in draft as well. A reindeer without flash on that chase. Very mobile. If you can get King Valher and Hjalmar over there, it is easy pickings, and they are eating good tonight.
Absolutely. And you love to see it. God of Hacks and King Valhyr united in Blitzcrank mid abusers. And I also appreciate King Valhyr going with the boxing Blitz skin. A throwback until last game. Hopefully they listen to our cast. So thank you if that's it. Otherwise, well, it's a nice skin, I guess. And good pickup here in the bot lane. It seems like Ogre getting caught out with massive damage.
The sidestep coming out of Sanix there was
Massive
good.
damage. Great cleanup, and also recognizing that this Blitz is in the mid lane and just looking for the counterplay. You have a huge lead. It's kind of free to go for it, and now Algren commits the flash there as well. So something that's gonna be down for quite a while now.
For sure, Hjalmar is gonna pick himself up a Rift Herald as well, and Panini, this game, we thought it was gonna be explosive, and it damn sure is starting to look that way. Jonathan Isaac and Daisy has made their way over. Now Baron, not Baron, the Rift Herald is gonna be falling, Hjalmar is gonna be falling as well. As the Wolf Force is good, it's gonna hit 2 members, but Mickey D is gonna be in trouble. Zedorzo is gonna pick himself up a kill at the back end of that fight. Rain D is gonna be looked on. Zedorzo could hit that Shuriken here. It goes, no art available for him as it was used earlier for that execution. Rain D should be able to run for the hills here, should be completely fine, but Zedorzo is hunting. Acceleration Gate comes through, the auto comes through as well. Randy is gonna be able to live with popping that refillable potion, but the main objectives, the Rift Herald went over to Interstellar.
The Portal Combat?
Oh,
The Portal Combat?
It's gonna be
you love to see, and you love the BM. This is just the way you play Valley. Yes, I love it. This is how you play Blitz, and the cheeky kitty back from Lurks here. But Blitz still looking. Level 6 now. Love to see what an explosive game. Great. Just a good collapse coming in here from Blazing Pandas originally. They're quite close to actually being able to steal this away, just like a moment too late here. But this Akali, great play as well. There's all the focus is falling onto the jungler here, and then Marcus and Sadurso?
Yeah.
Sorry, Sadorso. I haven't said it the whole game. So Sadorso and Marcus are able to clean it up as well there. A lot of damage, a lot of just cooldowns available, and with the Pandas kind of caught out there in the Dragon Pit, it looked a bit sketchy at first for Interstellar, but they managed to just play it out. There's some trades here in the top lane. Lots of damage now coming onto the Gnar. Rain D. Now the Flash is back on this Jace, so a bit more safe compared to earlier, but Blitz is back for more action.
Ooh, King Valor is returned in the mid lane, but Reindeer might be able to sniff this one out with the ward. He's got very good vision control for them, but Ogren is finding himself in the middle of a
Lurk's
lot
in a great
of
position.
people here. Lurk should be able to plant him. Oh, that rocket grab was very close to hitting there. Again, the mid lane is the focus. Reindeer is running into so many people here. This is not where you want to be. Zedorzo is gonna find himself an assist. Hjalmar finishes that one off, and even with the good vision that they had in the mid lane, Reindeer still for some reason runs into the river despite knowing everybody was there. But nonetheless, Marcus as well freezing the way, not freezing, but zoning out Mickey D from a little bit of experience up in the top side.
I think a bit of greedy pathing here on the side of Rain D holds onto the flash, but here we see it. They're just the mechanic of Jace pushing away the Akali, just backfiring completely and just pushing Akali in front of themselves and then dying to it. But that's how it goes sometimes. And Pandas currently sitting 700 gold lead as we look to have a Drake fight here for the second Drake. Shouldn't forget Interstellar picked up the first one, and we have Val here looking, missing the hook.
Very
Nice
close to
if this
hitting,
is
and don't let yourselves get fooled, guys. I know it says total on the top left, it does say Cloud Drake, but this is a Hex Tech Dragon, nonetheless. An important pickup for the side of Interstellar if they can get this one, but so far it is gonna be the Blazing Pandas looking for it. The hook is good. Sanix immediately should be able to go down here. The Ignite comes through as well, but the Sanix lives. The Sky Sun is not gonna go down. Let's get the Void Seeker as well. Lord is seeing what he can pick up. Algren doing so much damage on this Zeri. Both AD carries being 1 HP. The Rocket Grab is not gonna be enough. Jonathan Isaac has Smite, has the Flash available, but is gonna opt out, and Hector Drake will be going over to Interstellar. But what a hook coming out from King
incredible
Valor.
hook on the side of King Val here, and also a pretty good fight from Interstellar all around. Incredibly close for Algren being able there to pick up like almost clean house, but Pandas also managing to get out with just the like skin of their teeth, and it's great as we have a fight in the top lane. Michi D going in on Marcus here, has the Meganar,
Oh,
but
that's
ult
awkward.
you know, just you gotta pad the damage, right? But Johnner's up here now.
Jollar is gonna gank the top lane. Mickey D's Meganar is about to run out. Ultimate was used earlier as well. Marcus Unstoppable Force is gonna be used, and Ivern is only gonna run in to see his friend go down. And Daisy gonna take a look as well, but misses the Ivern so damn much that he doesn't want to spend too much time looking around.
Oh, watch this hook now. Mac. Beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous, and Algren doing so much damage here as
It's also
well.
the Shin Shao ulting just a moment too late there. Because we have a kill in the mid lane and Randy goes down again.
Hey
Just
man, this is what I was talking about, man. Jace without flash. Ooh.
I mean, we're watching some cyberbullying here in the in the mid lane as Randy is just constantly like playing 1v3. Good flash by Algren.
Some pulling in the bot lane as well. Algren is gonna be forced to burn his flash, but yeah, Randy is definitely the target of abuse this time around. An Infernal Soul on the table would be a very dangerous thing to give away to an Akali and to Azari. Marcus has been doing a bunch of damage as well, and we saw last time around Panini, we saw the Malphite not having a too good off a start, but when it's in Marcus's hands, 2-0 already up in the top lane.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see where it's going. If you start in a hole and you use the Malphite ult to fly yourself out, if you start on stable ground, where can you ult then instead? You can ult into the sky and into a 1-1 result today potentially, but that we will come to see later. And last game we had the Hextech Drake, my favorite Drake, and I think the strongest one in the game, as we look for a play in the top lane. Sedorso is up here.
Ooh, looking for a gank, and Mikiri is just gonna go down. Nothing for him to do there. But the gank in the mid lane could potentially see Sanix in a little bit of trouble. But you can see Lorgs doing the good man, doing the homie move and just walking alongside Sanix just in case the hook does hit. We'll be able to tank that one for his AD carry, potentially turn the fight around, but he's not about to. Well, it's not gonna be around this time. The rush comes through for Sanic. He's gonna give himself live lurk. Does get engaged on here, but Iron Shield coming through the TP as well is gonna be called by the side of Interstellar here. Zadorzo is gonna be in this mid lane. Join this fight, Randy as well is here with the Shock Blast firing and ready to go. The hook comes through. It's gonna be on to Lurk there. He's gonna take it down immediately. Daisy as well trying to see what he can do, but not gonna be living for too long as Iron did get taken out. Jonathan Isaac now is gonna be looking. King Valhar is gonna be very, very low here, but it's gonna be shut down by the Gnar. Mickey D comes in clutch. Jonathan Isaac is gonna be on the back end of a spear, but does not get jumped. Middle tower is gonna be the target of investigation, but they're just gonna walk away, gonna walk over to that Herald instead, and it ends up being a very even fight for these two.
Yeah, and the goal is quite close as well. Interstellar slowly been creeping into a lead here, but are we looking for a fight over the Herald? We're looking for the steal. Oh, does not get the steal, but it's very close, and we're looking for the follow-up fight instead.
Mickey D, a big Gnar ultimate coming out of him, but Zadorzo is going to find himself with an exhaust and not do too much damage here. The engage comes through, but the ultimate is huge. R2 hits absolutely everybody. Zadorzo being the carry, flashing that mastery emote on through, saying that I can play this champion, and carrying the side of Interstellar into his backpack, stuffing all the 4 members in there and saying, let me take you on this trip.
And I think it's you know, the let's watch the fight back first before I say anything else. And it looks so good for Pandas. They get this Akali really low inside of the shroud, but they're just not able to get the kill. It's a big ult from Michidi, but not really getting the stun. Zadorzo is low, but Phoenix just left with so little health, and Randy as well, and this Giga Uber fed Akali just able to clean it up.
Protobot coming through clutch there, baby. Yes, sir. Having that extra mobility is key. The hat coming through now. Zadorzo went into the store, had done some clothes shopping, and found himself a beautiful purple hat there with a little red background, and gonna be pumping out so much damage on
And
this
you
Akali.
know-
10 stacks in that dark
You
sleep.
know what, Tessa? We have a Drake coming up, which means we're fighting again.
I mean, we've also been fighting without the Drake, so I feel like these two teams just want to fight. They just want to duke it out.
You love to do, but this is what we were talking about, like what Interstellar needed to change. It wasn't working. You just said, okay, solo queue, let's go, let's fight constantly, take VP out of their comfort zone, and it's working so far. You're sitting at a nearly 4k goal lead here on the third Drake. If you can pick this up, it's massive, but look at Michidi with the rage bar. The Gnar bar is almost charged.
Flanks, Zadorzo is gonna find himself in, and they're gonna just engage without making D. They said, screw this now, we're just gonna go in, leave him into the dust. Lurks is gonna be looked on as well. Zadorzo is gonna find himself 2 kills back in the battery mode once again, and Mickey D is too damn late, tried to get the flank, but instead of going backwards, Interstellar said, zoom, 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 forwards we go, pick themselves up, the fight, end the dragon, and a 4,000 gold lead.
Great job by Interstellar recognizing that, okay, we have a Gnar coming in here, about to go mega. Most likely has the flash. This is very scary, about to get sandwiched, made a panini, you know? Let's see it here back again. Gnar coming in here in the top lane, but then recognizing the threat and just saying, okay, commit on the bot side. Jarlan in a good position. Akali leading the charge together with the Malphite, getting a lot of damage in, and there's just so much mobility. And look at the great hook by King Val here, also denying Michidi like any chance to join this fight. It's just way too little, way too late, and he just ends up falling. And now sitting on the sole point for Interstellar with a 5k gold lead. It's massive.
Yeah, and I gotta comment, like you said it yourself, Mickey D, or not Mickey D, King Valher, doing such a beautiful job of just stalling out the Gnar, just hooking him in, laying down all that CC with the Glacial Augment, but so much time for his team. Mickey D was not able to join in now. Sanix is gonna get hooked in. Algren is here for the one shot. Zadorzo finishes that one off legendary on this Akali 11 on 1. 2 items coming through. Zonia's finished up very, very soon as well. Stopwatch in his inventory, and this game is starting to blow wide open for the side finish.
There was a time when Sanix or 3/4 sat here 6-0 dreaming away, but this stream is looking like more and more like a nightmare. It's sitting at 6-3 now, just keeps dying. It's not easy to play with all this pressure coming from Interstellar Aquila, and they're just fighting you whenever they can.
Just zooming on forwards, man, and Youthful talked about a dream. This is not a dream I would want to live in if I was the side of Blazing Pandas, and they might find themselves a little bit of a catcher. Marcus is quite alone, but Unstoppable Force is, like we say, unstoppable, but the CC does come through. He's quite stuck there.
It's walking out of there.
He's just like, he just doesn't care. There's no damage coming through. He's gonna have to use the Unstoppable Force, trying to save his ultimate for as long as he could. King Valor is not gonna collect that one, but Sanix, you do not want to 1v1 the Akali. Zadorzo find himself a pick on that side lane. The hook should be up very, very soon as for Rocket Fist. Seeing Rocket Grab, we'll see what it can do. Mickey is finally mega, but trying to jump in with no one around. Good job from Interstellar to disengage once Mickey's mega does come through, but Baron is gonna be what they're pinging for, and is gonna be what they start on.
Yeah, they have a small window now. Michidi losing the Mega Gnar, and you still have Sanix dead for a while, but I like this. A good response by Blazing Pandas, committing on the mid turret, trying to get some of this gold back, because you can't fight at the Baron, even if the Akali doesn't... Oh wait, her ult is up again, so it doesn't matter, I guess. Maybe, but I might have missed. It might not even have been an ult committed to kill off Sanix there.
I mean, I feel like he doesn't need it. 12-on-1, Rabadon's and Protobelt. I feel like he just, looks in Sanix's direction, and Sanix just has a heart attack and just faints.
And look at this, 10 stacks.
Yeah.
10 stacks on the side of Akali.
You gotta wonder when Zadorzo is gonna have himself a library card. You gotta wonder if he's gonna start doing some reading sometime soon, if he picks himself up a couple more stacks, but so far it is the Baron picked up, and if you were Interstellar here, if you had this Baron buff, Panini, how would you want them to use this Baron buff? What sort of setup are you looking for?
I think normally, you know, when you have Baron, you might be looking for a 1-3-1 like they're doing now. I think it's quite smart because you have the strength on like the Aquila to push in one lane. But I think it's gonna mean that Pandas are gonna get a bit desperate and they're gonna commit on one of your lanes. And in one way, I want to see like a 4-1 or something. You know, just teleport on Malphite or so, have someone lurking around and then just commit. But they get the kill in the top lane, and this is what I mean. Like if Malphite is alone, he should still be fine. He can most likely just walk out of here. But
Oh, TP coming through. Unstoppable Force is gonna be flashed away. The root is lasting for quite a long time here, as that is expected by anybody. Randy is gonna get knocked up here. The redemption comes in, but not gonna redemption him on time. And redemption is what the Blazing Pandas need to get themselves out of this game as quickly as possible. Yalorn is trying to find aggressive fight. Does still have that ultimate available to his name. The Magnet Storm comes through here, Lurk, seeing what he can do, trying to put in that CC, but it's just so damn squishy in the face of Zedorzo on this Akali, as Marcus is apparently still rooted by while he's walking around.
And I think Sedorso just says good night and good riddance, Pandas. You're about to go extinct, as we're looking for a 1-on-1. So maybe not extinct, but near threatened on the world. Whatever. What is it? WHO? No, that's health. WWE? No, that's a wrestling.
that depends
The
on what
one
you're
with the
looking
animals.
for.
The one with the animal.
Oh, Akira.
On the other side, the Interstellar Aquila icon, a bird. Which type of bird, I do not know. Maybe an endangered bird as well, as they also lost a game today.
I mean, it looks like a raven to me, but it's gonna be the hook coming through. Unstoppable Force as well hits too, and this is gonna be just a complete run over. Nothing Blazing Pandas can do. Zero finds that R2 onto Nikki B. So
The
much
mastery
damage.
spam.
Lurks trying to find himself some time, but even Rain D cannot one-shot Algren, and you gotta sit there and wonder what went wrong when the Jace combo does absolutely nothing to the AD carry.
Yeah, it's quite contrast. Rain D, comfortable on the Swain, massive, just gigantic. But here, 1-8, a lot of this pressure coming into mid lane and just managing to get the Sedorso ahead, and then this Akali able to pick up kill after kill after kill after kill, and just start cleaning house and became just way too much to handle. And it's like, I think it's a great combo. Oh,
My
a
God.
beautiful hook from King Val here. The hooks have been on point, but
Giddy is gonna find himself at the back end of a bad fight, and the hooks have indeed been on point. King Valor again finding Sanix Rain D, finding a kill back, but it is nothing but a stat pad, nothing but to get his KDA up, and nothing the Blazing Pandas can do as Interstellar make this series 1-1, and what a game and what a series we had today.
I mean, in 24 minutes, I think it's an excellent comeback from Interstellar. And this is what we were talking about. Needed to change something up and just said, you know, we take everything we know about how to play in this league and we throw it out of the window and just pick some random solo queue stuff, and we just, you know, it's comfort. I think it's just you're playing comfort, you're playing chaos. Your Pandas are so good when the game is, you know, not necessarily slow but a bit controlled, right? They're good in just setting up, grouping as 5 and just punishing anything as this death ball, and they're not allowed to this game. There's just too many threats running around in the jungle. They can't go anywhere. There's a blitz hook. There's a 10-1 Akali 10 stack. You know, it's horrible. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's just not a fun environment to be in if you're the side of Blazing Pandas. And Malphite is gonna keep his 100% win rate for today and for this series at least, as Marcus ends up going 5-0-13 in that game number 2 on it. Game number 1 ends up being Michi, who goes 5-3-15. And interestingly enough, Marcus ends up going deathless. So I think you can call that Marcus ends up being the better Malphite for the day. But nonetheless, each get their respective wins on the board, and it's just, what do you think? So, I do want to hear from you. What do you think went wrong for Blazing Pandas in that game number 2?
I feel like you were just not able to contain the early game pressure here. There's just, it looked fine, but I you just never were able to play to your comp. You never got to poke. You never got to, like, you know, get into that comfortable angle where you walk in and Daisy walks in and you do an engage and stuff. It just never happened. It was always someone getting caught out, someone overstaying, or you know, there's someone on the flank. They never got to play how they want to play, and it doesn't matter how good team comp you have. Like if you have a game plan and you just can't execute on it, you can't use your team comp to your advantage. It doesn't matter. And I think also in Sedorso in the mid lane, massive performance on the Akali, beautiful. I also actually think the jungler on the side of Interstellar playing it well here, and Xinxia often being the one to die, but in doing so, giving his team the opportunity to just run over Pandas, and it didn't matter that Sanix got so ahead in the early game. It looked great, but never got to put all that gold to use, and then it just doesn't matter, you know. Uh, so I wonder who would you give the MVP to this game?
Oh, purely for game number two, I gotta give it up. I do want to give an honorable mention before I do to King Valor. I feel like he had some amazingly clutch hooks that game. Some of them went a little bit wide, but especially that one team fight where he ended up stalling Mickey D for so damn long was very impressive to me because most supports would just look towards their team, would just say, let me go make the hero play. But Mickey D being the hero that will not wear the cape, as he ended up making the important play instead of the flashy one. But MVP for game number two, I would have to give it up to Marcus. I feel like there was so many times where he just held his ult for so long and just made his way over to those clutch situations. But him and Zedorzo. I feel like I'm gonna. Can I just like? Can I split my MVP vote? Can I give 50 like 50-50?
Yeah,
Yeah.
half an MVP each. Let's do it.
Okay, yeah, I'll give half an MVP each to the top and the mid laner because on that game too, they were both to me the people that popped off and have a beautiful game for themselves. And Marcus going deathless just stands so much out. But do you think you'd agree with me? Who would you feel like played best in that game number two?
No, I quite agree with you. Also enjoy watching the Marcus, playing incredibly well in in the early stages of game one, and then, overreaching a bit and getting punished for it quite hard, and then, you come into game two and actually able to play with some patience and to do that adaptation, I think is big. But I would give it to said also just incredible Akali performance. Also getting like these really clutch kills because I think without this it doesn't matter. But it's a hard-working team overall, and King Valhyr's hooks insane. Then the Sarah just sitting catching waves. It's a good team effort, absolutely. If we're gonna talk about game one, I would potentially maybe give it to Rain D. Um, just sometimes it looks like nothing's happening, right? And then Rain D has like 10 kills, and you're like, oh, I guess something happened, and I think that's a strength. Just you don't always have to be like this Akali flying all across the stream, like screen, doing cool stuff to be good. But like sometimes it's just about putting in the damage, doing the work for your team, and that's I think what we saw game one.
Definitely so, and there is one more person I want to highlight. One more person I want to give an honorable mention to because Zedorzo, we already said Akali in that game number two did extremely well, but even in game number one, 3-3-1 on that Vladimir, and he felt to me like he was the rock that Interstellar tried to build on, just ended up not building a structure sturdy enough to keep them afloat, but still he did the best in that game number one. 232 CS, tried to get as much gold on the map as he could on that Vladimir, and just trying to do the work that he could to keep his team afloat, keep his team alive. And Zedorzo overall, just to me, had, if I had to give like an MVP for both games to one player, since it was a one for one, I would definitely give it to him. He, to me, gets my most stable player of the day award.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. I think Sadorso was performing excellent in both games. Also, it's hard when you're playing like a scaling mid lane mage kind of, and your opponent's just like your lane opponent is getting a lot of kills, getting just really strong, and it's hard, playing that matchup is not easy either. So still doing the best of a pretty hard situation, and absolute show in the second game here, and I'm happy we see a 1-1. It means that production can now call off the SWAT teams, so we're safe for this week. But
Ah,
yeah, you love to see it. I think we had a banger of a series and two very good games from two teams that I think played good. And I really liked, as I will say it again, Interstellar's adaptation. Pandas played the style as kind of they've tested and proven is good and it's working for them. And it's nice to see Interstellar adapting and trying something else and making that work. And that I think is really a sign of a good team. So Interstellar might be a team you should have like a look on, going forward here.
Definitely. So Interstellar to me has been a team that I've personally had my eye on ever since the start. Ever since their first couple of games, they seem like a team that can hold their own. And when they throw out these wacky strats, these some might call unorthodox team comes together, and some of these the champions that you don't tend to see too often. Things like the Akali, for example, things like the Xin Zhao that tend to be not favored by too many people. It is good to see that versatility come through, and always an exciting team to watch. Unfortunately, that will be wrapping us up for our first series of the day. Luckily, we have
Yeah.
a 2-day series with us for today. It is going to be Silver Phoenix versus Enlan coming up next, and we will have a quick stream restart
And
in between this series as
I
well.
have one last thing to do. I also have to give a shout out to Kansei because I promised. So shout out to Kansei, kisses, hugs, have a good evening and enjoy your 2-0 weekend. We'll be seeing you in the playoff. Thank you, Dessa. Wonderful to cast with you as always, and hope everyone else had a good evening with us so far, and that you stay around for the banger of Groot versus FPX Europe.
Do we fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love? Risk the fall, or we have felt it all